Interviewing: How to Prepare, brought to you by Mohr Career Services at the Lundquist College of Business. One of the most important things to do when you're preparing for an interview is to be able to define and communicate your alignment. For each job, you're going to look at the company, look at their values, mission, their culture, and the specifics of the job. And then you'll look at your own values, interests, personality, strengths, experience, and skills, and where those two things overlap is where you have alignment. Start with research. Check the job announcement for clues about what the company wants. Learn more about the company before the interview by checking out their website, doing a Google search, and go on LinkedIn to follow the company and look up your interviewer's profile. Prepare for common questions. Some of the most common are: tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? Why should we hire you? What is your greatest strength? And on this one, be able to give them an example. What is your greatest weakness? What they really want to know here is if you're mature enough to be able to identify areas that maybe aren't as strong for you and have a plan in place to be working on those. So it's what is your greatest weakness and how are you working on it? Tell me about yourself. This is one of the most dreaded questions in interviewing. Why do they ask this? It's not a throwaway question. They're actually asking to find out what it is that led you to this place, to this job, to this interview. What did they want to know? Remember your elevator pitch. This is what we suggest. Start in the present. Who are you? Your values, interests, personality, strengths, the things that you want to convey to them. Then go to the past. What have you done? Bring in an interesting project or job you recently held and highlight professional skills that will be relevant to the interviewer. Future: how do you see this job fitting into your career plan? Now, you can also personalize this a little bit more and bring in some of your interests if you like. That is optional, however. You do want to make sure that they know your professional path to get to this particular job. Practice this one. Practice with friends, a career advisor, on the Big Interview or VMOC platforms accessed through Handshake. And remember, tell me about yourself. You don't want to go on too long. Keep it probably 90 seconds or less. Let's look at the sandwich method, which is a framework for answering questions. Step 1, answer the question that they're asking. Step 2, give an example using the who method. What did you do? How did you do it? And what was the outcome? Step 3, connect it back to the job. So as an example, if I were to be asked a question such as, give me an example of a time that you worked as part of a team and what role you played, I might start out by saying something like, typically when I work in a team situation, I find myself playing the role of coordinator. For example, and then I would give a specific example of a time when I did that and how it turned out. Then to connect it back to the job, I might say something like, and I think those coordination skills, being able to work with all team members, coordinate the different pieces of the project, and bring in different pieces of feedback will help me to be very successful in this particular job. Try to use this method when answering questions, especially questions that give you a chance to bring up your key strengths, those main points you really want to convey to the interviewer. Remember to prepare questions to ask them. What do you want to know about the opportunity? What are their expectations? How will success be measured? Who would you be working with? What kind of team? What do you want to know about the company? Their values, things that you can't just find on their website, their culture, or something else. What is important to you? Remember that an interview is a two-way process. So while the company is interviewing you, you are also interviewing the company so that you can tell whether or not it's a place where you would thrive and grow. For next steps, we recommend doing your research and crafting your message in advance so that once you're in the interview, you can really focus on the relationship. Focus on having that great conversation and building rapport with your interviewer. There are more resources on our website, mohr.uoregon.edu, to walk you through the interview process. The important thing is to practice. We recommend booking an appointment with a career advisor through Handshake and doing some mock interview practice. You can also use our video interview platform, Big Interview. There's the link there. Sign in with your Duck ID for a free account. You get a chance to record yourself, and no one sees the recording but you. Just gives you some feedback on how you're doing. You can also practice with friends and family. For further support, join us for Drop-In Advising in Lillis 155 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, weeks 1 through 10, fall, winter, and spring terms. Make an appointment with a career advisor through Handshake. For more resources, including video content, check out our website, mohr.uoregon.edu.